Welcome to Creepin' It Real. I am Judah. Welcome my prodigal co-host here, Jake. It's been a while. How are you?
Dead inside.
Dead inside. Wow. Okay, I'm sorry.
Glad to be back.
I'm glad to have you back.
Yeah, man.
Let's make this a potential double movie review, if you don't mind.
Oh no.
Let's do it. Okay. Let's talk about, simply because we are white men, we're going to talk about two black films that I'm not sure we're not allowed to have opinions. The two movies are The Woman in the Yard
and Sinners.
Jake, yes, and Sinners. Yeah. Jake suggested to me The Woman in the Yard. So I suggested Sinners a while ago, back when it was still maybe a week out in the cinema, because I had been hearing people were liking it. It was like getting good word of mouth.
Yeah, and I saw the trailer, and it definitely reminded me of like a From Dusk Till Dawn type. Like it had that vibe, and I love Dusk Till Dawn, but this was different.
Yes, I myself was not a huge fan of Dusk Till Dawn.
Wow.
I also am not a big fan of Quentin Tarantino. So one day he's like, hey, did you see Sinners? I was like, no, I haven't. I've been kind of waiting to go see it with you. Well, I watched it on the shitter and don't waste your time. And I was like, no, say it ain't so. And he was like, don't waste your time. And I was like, I'm going to.
Yeah, and you did waste your time.
And I watched it. So let's talk about Sinner. I'm going to say my thoughts. I thought the costumes were amazing, in my opinion.
Okay.
I thought the lighting and aesthetics were fantastic.
It was very cinematic.
I did like the music that was in it, but the storyline, I couldn't care less. I didn't care for any of the characters in this movie whatsoever.
Nope.
The vampires, spoilers, they have a hive mind. Once you become a vampire, you have a hive mind. So I was dying laughing at one point. Before this is revealed that they have a hive mind, this white vampire, because, I don't know, it just seemed a little odd. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And white man comes in, he destroys everything.
Exactly. So the white vampire apparently can sing. He bites other vampires. Then suddenly they can play instruments and they can sing. And before they revealed the hive mind thing, I was dying inside because I was like, wait, is that part of the virus of being a vampire? You get bit and now you can sing.
Powers?
Yeah, you can sing and play instruments now.
Yeah.
So that made me laugh. That was a new. Have you ever heard of this like hive mind thing scenario from any other vampire movie?
No, but like sometimes when you kill the original vampire, the other ones die or they become humans again. I've seen that in several movies. Which
would lend to the credence of there being
some connectivity there. Yeah, but this musical talent thing was, I think they just wanted to put it in there to put some, make the soundtrack.
I agree.
Buffier,
I don't
buffer it out a little bit.
Don't disagree.
Yeah.
Back to the music, they want to tie into the story that some people, their music is so fantastic that it can
transcends time.
Yes, it transcends time and space, and somewhat pierces the veil of our world to a different world, and it can call forth or attracts evil. Like evil hears it and it's like, oh, I like the way that sounds.
Sick, bro.
And goes after it.
In my life.
And there's this scene where they're trying to represent that it transcends time and space, and all of the like modern day hip hop or 70s style guitar player, it was so, they appear and are like playing along with this blues artist, and it was so stupid. How did you feel about that?
Dude, I saw a couple women twerking in there, and like it was the dumbest thing I've seen in a movie in a while.
Yeah,
and we've seen some pretty bad movies. I just thought that whole scene could have been cut completely.
Yeah,
and I think now I get how it ties a little bit to the end. There was a kind of a connection there, a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, it was so useless. I thought the whole movie was useless.
You thought the whole movie was useless?
It's bad, man. The story was so modernized. Like it didn't feel like the characters belonged in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially the brothers. I mean, they were so like modern day hustle and grind shit that I just was like, dude, this is painstaking to watch. And the gunfight scenes were really bad. And I'm like, dude, that doesn't make sense. You shouldn't have that many bullets in your, I don't even think clips were a thing back then. I don't know.
It's possible.
And so it was just like, okay, if you've got a revolver, man, how many vampires can you kill with a revolver? 6 if you're good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get past that stuff because it was a period piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate saying that because it's not like, usually when you say it's a period piece, there's some concrete there's some substance.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this movie lacked complete substance. And it was just like, hey, this young kid's getting some pussy.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of cringy. It was a cringy film. That's what I thought. They had some cinematic stuff in there, but look, the Marvel movies are cinematic, and not all of those are very good. It's
very
just,
few.
It's just like bloated, almost.
I'm thinking I'm a 4.5.
Woo!
I'm not. I didn't feel like I wasted my time. I'll never watch it again. But I'm also not a big vampire fan.
Yeah,
but
I can tell, man.
I like period pieces, and when horror movies are in a period piece movie or a foreign land, it helps me suspend disbelief much more. And so I had high hopes. I was like, period piece. I'm like, I can disengage from the real world.
Compare that to another movie. What would another title be where you think that was done well?
Because of a period piece?
Yeah.
I have to make some kind of either a period or foreign. It has to be a place that puts my mind in somewhere that's not familiar to me.
With your daily normal life.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I really liked a vampire movie right here. Let the Right One In. The foreign version.
Okay.
That really, I enjoyed that movie so much. One, vampire movies, hate vampire movies, but loved it. It's literally in one of my top 10. Let the Right One In.
Okay, help me out here because it's been done a lot. Because there's Let the Right One In.
And Let Me In. Yeah.
Was this the one with the little girl?
Yes, both of them have a little girl in it.
Okay, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. That one was pretty good. I would compare Sinners to something modern also, The Gorge.
That's an Apple movie, right?
It is an Apple movie. I was 20 minutes into it, my wife and I, and I leave for my trip to California without watching her. She watches the rest. She goes, do you want to know it? And I go, I already know what happened. I already know. I guarantee. And she goes, well, what do you think happened? I go, it was this, government experiment, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh my God, you just told me the entire movie I just watched. And I go, boom.
So for you, Sinners was just so predictable.
It was very predictable, and it was like there was no substance to it. It was just a horror movie to be a horror movie, and that was it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it felt like it was almost like this, like I could see the director going, look what I've made. Yes, this will be remembered forever. And it was just like, dude, it wasn't there for me.
So what's your
I give
out
it
of 10?
I give it a 3.
Okay.
A 3 out of 10, and strictly because of how cinematic it was. They put a lot of money into this. To do the twin thing, I don't know if you watched any videos on that.
No behind the scenes, no.
But I mean, he wore this huge camera rig with like 10 cameras on it, in order to do the scenes where his brother was also in it. And so there was a lot of money put into this. But it just felt like a White Knight type movie where it was just like, okay, we get it, dude. White people are evil. We are. And we ruin everything. So, no guilt here, bitch. So, woman.
The woman in the yard.
Because, I mean, there's a couple women in the yard at some point, but we'll go with the woman in the yard.
Jake calls me or messaged me, and he's like, yeah, I just watched this. You should give it a try. And I was super shocked. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I should give this a try.
He's lying. He actually thinks that my opinions are really crap. And so he's like, if I'm going to get him back in this room, I'm going to watch this movie.
it was all true.
Here, so.
Well, it felt funny to me because this all like happened in the same time frame of the Sinners thing. And I'm like, oh, of course, I say let's watch Sinners. He doesn't make time to see it. Then he watches it on his own and he's like, oh, it's garbage. Don't waste your time. It's like, and now he's going to come to me and he's going to be like, oh, look, I'm the real hero here.
What he was really thinking was this was a revenge thing. It's like, oh, hey, Code, check out, kind of like the Bad Flower thing, where I'm like, hey, check these really good songs out. And now his entire feed is crap.
He was suggesting a band, Bad Flower, to me, and now my whole feed and YouTube is screwed up because of it.
You're welcome.
So I watch it. I watch it on Peacock using Jake's login information.
I'm useful sometimes.
And I got to tell you, I enjoyed this movie much more than Sinners. And yet this movie has not gotten anywhere near the same reception on a large scale that Sinners did. And I don't understand it. Now that I don't want to mislead people to say that I'm like, this movie is fantastic. I'm just saying that I enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
I cared about the characters in this movie. Like, I legitimately was like, oh, I care about what's going on here. Whereas Sinners, I was like, I don't give a crap.
Well, and I think the part of that, again, goes to that cinematography. Sinners felt big.
It did.
It felt huge. It felt almost kind of like a Marvel-type movie where you're like, oh, dude, they're putting money into this for a reason, right? Whereas Woman in the Yard felt more of like a Sundance piece, if that makes sense, where it's like, okay, some starting up director doesn't have a ton of money, but he really has this decent idea of how a horror movie should go, and it puts it out there, and okay. But you're not going to get millions of people watching that type of thing, So maybe that's just my theory on it.
No, I agree. On the outside, I would agree with you. That doesn't mean that I thought the cinematography was good in The Woman in the Yard.
Yeah,
I felt the lighting
bad,
was good.
It didn't feel like a big budget.
No, it didn't. It was a much smaller story.
Right. It was more niche. And I think the thing is with that too is true horror fans and people like our people that watch your videos are going to be more nuanced in this type of stuff. And so Sinners is made for the masses.
Okay.
While Woman in the Yard is more niche and more nuanced, where it's like you actually have to pay attention, it makes you think a little bit more. Where Sinners is like, I want to escape my daily life. I'm going to go watch a big ass movie. That's what it kind of felt.
There were, though, some camera effects used in this movie. Particularly the scene in my mind revolves around their dog, and the dog chain. There was something about that filter or that effect that they were using that was very off-putting to me. I don't know. I can't even.
Like it took you out of the movie.
It was weird. It was almost, not entirely. It felt like a shift in the feel of the movie. It was almost like, we have this one thing, and then suddenly we have these 3 seconds of Sam Raimi, and then back into.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I could see that almost where kind of like the forest scene where Ash gets possessed. Do you remember that where he's flying through? It's the end of number 1. If you kind of ended number 1 and goes into number 2, even though 2 is kind of like a remake. Where he's flying through the sky. I could see that with the dog chain.
Yeah.
It was a weird camera angle. that kind of took you. It was almost like a little bit of a shock.
It was, and it was very weird to me. I didn't know how I felt about it. In hindsight, I'm not sure. I just remember it impacting me when I watched it.
Well, and I think at that point of the movie too was a shift in the aura of the movie, kind of like where the chickens. You see the chickens, and you're like, "Oh shit, something more is going on here."
Yeah.
Well, that poor poopers.
Yeah.
You know, you're thinking, "Well, is he buried? What's going to happen?"
Yeah, I was not sure where that was going.
So,
I didn't. I remember pausing the movie to see. It was at the 50-minute mark. I really enjoyed the first 50 minutes of it. Okay. But I think it was more, you were learning about the mom, the kids. You were kind of trying to figure out what's the situation here. You didn't know if they were facing financial trouble or if it was just the mom not taking care of situations.
Because of her depression.
Exactly. You weren't totally sure at that point.
I think it was both, a little bit of both. But yeah.
Then the horror aspect of the movie really started kicking in after that 50 minutes. Then my enjoyment slightly went down because I felt some of the characteristics of the horror aspect was overplayed. That almost sounded like word salad right there. That just what came out.
That was word diarrhea. Explain yourself. Give examples.
Okay. Spoilers. So the woman in the yard, we don't know how she gets there. They go out to try to engage with her and get questions answered, and it's very weird. And then this woman starts asking them questions, and it's kind of like, wait a minute, I'm not going to give you information. You start seeing something weird occur with the shadows, which when it first happened, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Then it starts to progress. It like builds up. Like the impact of the shadow starts to become more impactful.
Okay.
More impactful.
So when they start covering up windows and stuff like that, you're like, oh.
It felt overplayed.
Overplayed and makes it less impactful.
Yes, and it shifted from just a creepy kind of what's going on here, and then it shifted into a haunted house movie almost.
Okay, I get that. I see that.
So, and that was weird to me. There's not much else for me to say other than to jump right into the end. How personal, I have no problem talking about myself. How personal are you interested in getting in?
Oh man, I'm an open book, baby.
It becomes clear. Did you have anything you wanted to say before I?
No, man, you keep going.
Okay.
This is your choo-choo train.
Choo-choo.
I'm just along for the ride.
It becomes clear at the end that this whole movie is about depression and suicide. Mm-hmm. Then you have to question yourself, is her depression / suicide manifesting itself? Or is this whole thing just going on in her brain? Because several times things occur and then they show you, oh, that was just in her brain.
Yeah.
But then at the end, you're left with this, was the whole thing in her brain, or were the kids experiencing this woman as well?
Yeah, and so I was wondering that one, you get that scene where she hurts her daughter, and you're like, okay, well, there's something mentally going on here, but what I think it's a story about overcoming obstacles in your life where it can seem just overwhelming, and to a point, and to anybody that's experienced depression and suicidal thoughts and whatnot, it can become very all-consuming. And that's what this felt like it was trying to say, was that it may seem small at first. There's a woman in the yard, blah, 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 whatever, some weirdo, to where at the end of the movie, her depression or her, has manifested itself almost to a point where it's like overtaking her, and you kind of see that towards the end. Now, I won't give away the entire ending here if you want to watch it, but she, there's a point at the end where you're wondering, okay, what happens? They don't show what happens, okay, and so you're kind of just left wondering. She was very disconnected with her kids, and I can relate to that, to where, like, her little daughter gave her a stuffed animal, right? And to kids, that stuffed animal that's a big thing, right? My daughter, when I go on trips or anything like that, she'll give me one of her stuffed animals. I know to her that means something huge, right? I'm like, oh, whatever, The mom just tosses that thing when she goes into and I don't know if it's she doesn't want to think about her kids because she just wants to get this done or whatever it is. But that was a huge point in the movie where I was like, oh, dude, very relatable, to where you get that numbing where you just don't feel anything. And then you're like, well, that's the end of the movie. I know what's going to happen here, but it was good. It would just, you question yourself, what in the world is going on? Is this all in her head? Because then at some point, spoilers, she is the woman in the yard, which I didn't quite understand that either. And then maybe you can help me here. The mirror world thing.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's all I'll say about that. The ending was kind of disappointing to me in that respect, because it felt a little bit like, JK, you were dreaming the whole time.
Yep. Which
type feel, which
tied into what you were saying earlier about.
Right. And so, like, the whole movie, I was wondering what was going on. I cared about these characters. I wanted to know, is this mental? Is this whatever? Because, depression's a mental disease, and it can be, like I was saying, all consuming. And so you're like, okay, maybe she's created this whole world in her head because of the guilt that she feels from doing this or whatever it is. So, again, I was a little bit disappointed with the ending there. You get this feel-good thing, and then it just gets ripped away from you. So, in a cheap way.
Yes.
I felt like a whore at the end of that movie. I felt used and abused. But the rest of the movie was good.
Okay.
You're
kind of feeling what I was feeling in a way. Did you happen to notice when they did the flashback of her and her husband, their night out? Did you see what movie was playing?
Man, I did, and now I forget it.
It was The Mirror Has Two Faces.
There we go. Okay, thank you. I saw that, and I was like, oh, because then it played on later into that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, for me, when I finally, all spoilers, we're going to start discussing the ending, even though he kind of did.
If you want to watch this movie,
you need to stop.
Stop now. Come back later, please, and finish it.
And leave a comment. Give us your thoughts on why it is that two white men should have any right to talk about two black movies. One, because both Jake and I have dealt with depression, me, daily, and suicide, so step off. We can say whatever the hell we want about the woman in the yard.
But sinners, we have no fucking right.
Exactly, nothing. Yeah. I've never been a vampire.
Never been a vampire.
Or a gangster. I've never even been in a juke house. Gosh. Foolish me.
What?
When I finally came to the slap in the face realization, this movie is about depression and suicide. You know what I mean? There comes a point where it's just like, okay, this is a metaphor. This whole thing is a metaphor about people struggling, their daily life, and it manifesting in a way. And it's slowly, as you mentioned, it's slowly encroaching. First, it's just a you thing, but it slowly reaches in and starts impacting other people around you. It kind of became, when I realized that, I started analyzing it a little stronger simply because of my own personal feelings. And I thought, this movie is not going to end in any satisfactory way. My personal opinion was this movie has to end badly. For it to be successful, this movie must end badly. Mm-hmm. You don't know. And I read that the director was very specific on being ambiguous.
I feel like it's a cop-out.
It's possible. Yeah. But I do think I read one review from a person from IMDb who gave this movie a 10 out of 10. They said they loved it, but they felt that anybody who has never dealt with depression or suicide will not get the movie and will not appreciate it. And I don't even know if I can answer that because you and I both have dealt with these things heavily. So we can't even have a perspective.
So we only have one perspective on this, and that's comparing it to our own experience with the subject.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we might be able to get some of the guys on this, but honestly, we'd love your opinion. If you haven't dealt with depression and suicide on it, leave a comment if you've watched this movie and tell us just your thoughts on it. What did you think this movie was about?
Definitely.
Were you satisfied with the ending?
So,
I didn't mean to interrupt there, but
no. That was great. It's great because definitely I would love to hear somebody else's perspective that has not dealt with this. Lucky you son of a bitch. Never being depressed or wanting to kill yourself. God, I'm gonna hunt you down. You know what? I don't want to hear from you. Keep your positivity to yourself.
Ooh, sunshine and rainbows.
I was like, this has to end bad. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just is like, oh, you know what? I got kids. I shouldn't do this. Everything's okay. It was like, but
was it?
That's the thing. But
was it okay?
It ends and you see a shot because the mother was an artist and it shows a painting. You see the woman in the yard like veiled in the back of this painting and being overwhelmed by her own face in front, and it goes down to show her name Ramona, but the R is backwards, which is making you think, okay, this woman really did just blow her brains out, and this is some kind of weird dream world that she's in.
Yeah. And it ties back to when she was trying to teach her daughter about the R.
Yeah.
And so clearly she was very adamant about her daughter getting it correct. And you're like, okay, see, in my head, I tend to overanalyze stuff. And I'm like, okay, does she really want her to get it correct because, or did her daughter see her mom writing it backwards? Mm-hmm. And that's how she just signs her paintings. And she's like, well, I don't want you doing that, but this is the correct, it's just, that's what those types of endings for me make me do. I try to overanalyze it, and I just, for the movie to be substantial to me or to mean anything, I just need to know. Mm-hmm. Okay, what really happened here? Because otherwise, I can make up an entire ending myself or what I think it is, and that could be way off topic. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
I would have preferred for me that not that I want people in these situations to kill themselves purely for the
because you're too much of a bitch to do it.
God,
clearly we both are.
No joke. You could quote me probably. That was pretty close.
Deleting yourself is not a joke. But
yeah, it's not. But I told Jake the only reason I am still here is because I'm too chicken to do it.
Let's not depress.
Anyway, yeah, okay. So for this movie to have worked for me, she needed to complete the self-deletion, and her kids needed to see it, and we needed to see the massive impact that put on them.
What I would have loved to have seen is after that scene in the shed or the garage or whatever it is, you don't hear the gunshot, you don't hear any of that, but you see the kids grown up visiting her grave or something like that, maybe with their kids, you know, and that would have been so much more impactful in my eyes. But then, like, you see the daughter walk off or whatever, and then you see a woman in black.
If they could have played, as you were talking, I was like, I kind of like where you're going. If they could have somehow made it very clear that Ramona had her self-deleting would have passed on the woman to the next generation.
Correct. Just like depression, drug abuse, alcohol, all that stuff is generational and it can get passed on. That would have been so much more like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
You know, whereas this, it was like you were saying, ambiguous, and it was kind of just like,
you could walk away believing whatever you wanted to believe.
Yeah, you come up with the ending.
Exactly.
And that, in my opinion, is cheap. You know, it's like you have a good idea, but you just don't know how to wrap it up.
Potentially.
I've got 6 kids. Trust me.
You know how to wrap it up, Jake.
And so it makes, you know, a good movie become like an all right movie.
Yeah. What's your final score then?
I would give this a 6 out of 10.
Dude, me too. 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. It might be a movie that I would watch with a friend or family member just to kind of get their perspective on it. I would not watch it again myself. But I would definitely recommend, you know, mostly for selfish reasons. I want to hear other people's opinion on it. But otherwise, you know, it's a watch. It's not a must-see. And it's not a Jordan Peele movie.
It's not. So, in our opinion, The Woman in the Yard.
Our white male cis opinion.
Exactly. We think The Woman in the Yard is more entertaining, or maybe it just hit us in a spot that we're sensitive to and impacted us a little more. So we would recommend this over Sinners, but we also don't think it's a you have to see it.
Yeah. If you're trying to escape your daily life, 9 to 5, go watch Sinners, man. You'll enjoy that more. If you're more of a, I don't want to say connoisseur because that makes me feel like we're blowing up our heads. If you've seen a lot of horror movies and you can kind of predict where things are going, I would recommend seeing The Woman in the Yard. It's more of a thinker, definitely. Whereas Sinners is like a, fuck, dude, let's get stoned and watch a horror movie. Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's more of like a scary movie type thing, you know, for me, where it was like there was a lot of cliches and stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but hey, it's nice being back.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm Judah. This is Jake. This has been Creepin' It Real. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.